it's your girl! And my stomach really hurts right now. Initially, I thought it could be because of the 3 cups of coffee I'd had before recording this, but then I thought even deeper about it and realized no, it couldn't possibly be that. It must be because of the most vile, disgusting webtoon series that I ever read that I am about to talk to you guys about. Because it was definitely all I've been thinking about all day. This video is going to be fully censored, so if you would like to see this video uncensored, then please check out the links in my description. Now, I read a lot of webtoons and manga. I read every day. And of course, along the way, I'm gonna come across some, what's the word? Traumatic series. I'm no stranger to it. Neither are you at this point. Now let's just move on and be adults about this. Except we won't, because this series needs to be burned with the fire. And the series I'm talking about, I'm just gonna get right into it, is called The World That I Rule. If you recognize this cover, I am so sorry, because you know exactly what I'm about to get into. Now, I've talked about messed up hentai, I've talked about messed up manga, messed up eroge, but I think this is the first time I've ever talked about a messed up webtoon. It kind of is one of the only ones that comes to mind that's genuinely messed up. And looking at the art, you know, and seeing a big voluptuous girl, you read it and think you're just gonna get a really good saucy time, nothing too big, and then you walk out ready to call a therapist because you are not ready to face the world yet. So if you haven't experienced that yet, let me tell you what it is you're gonna be jumping into if you start it. Now, before we continue, I would like to give thanks to today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Now, I know you guys have heard of Raid Shadow Legends before, and let's be honest, there's a reason for that. Because Raid Shadow Legends is a free online RPG that allows you to live out your heroic dreams. Set in the realm of Teleria, which is under a dark shadow cast by the Dark Lord Siroth, it is up to us to protect our world. Raid Shadow Legends has over 80 million downloads from across the world, as well as constant updates. Right now, you have over 700 unique champions to choose from, and it's up to you to build your team to make sure that they are the most powerful they can be. And what's this? You haven't been watching Raid: The Call of Arbiter? Well, get on it, because this is a limited series. There's also a bunch of new content in Raid Shadow Legends due to Raid Call of the Arbiter, including a very legendary champion, the Orc Warlord Artok. And of course you're wondering, how do you get him? All you have to do is log into Raid every day from now until July 24th. Seriously, you don't want to miss this character, so get up on signing in now. And don't forget, you do want to keep up to date with Raid Call of the Arbiter, which is available on YouTube. If you are understandably itching to play Raid Shadow Legends, then please use the link in my description, or use my unique QR code, which is right here. And by doing so, you get a free starter pack with all of this loot here. Now, once you're in the game, please look up my profile, Sydsnap. You can join my clan and we can fight together. Once again, please click the link in my description to join. Thank you again to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video, and now back to the video. Now, The World That I Rule is about a guy named Chido who was the top dog in high school. He was that guy who was the most popular, everybody knew him, everybody liked him. He peaked in high school. He definitely peaked in high school. But as he grew up, he became just a kind of unsuccessful Joe who's delivering fried chicken in his mid-30s and kind of has no aim in his life. He ends up delivering fried chicken to one of his old high school classmates that he actually used to bully. I just realized that the guy's name is Chido, so like
Cheeto,
but not like Cheetos. Just get that out of here. It's a Korean name. And the old guy that Chido used to bully paid like a guy to beat up Chido in front of him when he was delivering fried chicken to the old high school classmate. While Chido was getting beat up, the old high school guy just began having sex with a girl in front of Chido, which is just weird. I don't really know the okay, it's hentai logic. So Cheeto's really upset. He just got beat up in front of the kid that he used to always beat up. And he's just like, okay, I'm gonna go back to work. I'm gonna ride home back in my motorcycle. And just like that, he gets isekai'd. He gets into a motorcycle accident and he just dies. He wakes up on this island and the first thing he sees is a cooch. And when Cheeto wakes up, he's just like, oh, what the hell? I was just in a motorcycle accident. And then he notices the girl has elf ears. And then he's just also randomly on this island. You know, it's daytime and he has no idea how he got there. And then he's just like asking this girl questions and she doesn't really reply or say anything. She just starts sucking his dick a little bit, you know, as you do when somebody's in an accident and you don't really know who they are. And he's kind of enjoying it, yeah, loving it. And all of a sudden, in the middle of like, you know, some little squabble, a bunch of other elves begin surrounding them. And then he begins to realize that this is an island filled with elves that don't know how to speak his language. We come to find out that they do understand what he's saying, but, you know, they can't reply back to him. And shortly after he is found by these elves, we begin to see that their community, this island community, is a very peaceful place. They don't do do anything there, just full of happiness. They have constant orgies, as you do on an island full of people. Really, one of the most important factors, and I'm not even trying to be sarcastic when I say this, is that the elves have sex with other elves. There is no monogamy on this island. They also have a fruit on this island that gives you every vitamin you need. It quenches your hunger, your thirst, and it completely sustains you after eating only a little bit. So they have no worries in the world. They wake up to sunshine, they dance, they play, they have sex, and that is literally just like, you know, heaven, I guess, some would say. Everything was peaceful and wonderful until Cheeto showed up. Or really, I should say, until he got NTR'd.
What the heck?
Because he was loving island life. He noticed that it was just daytime all the time. The sun was always shining. Everything he could need was right there. He was happy, and then he became really close with the girl who initially found him. She couldn't speak to him, so he made a name for her and called her Bora. And he started really falling hard for Bora, okay? Even though she couldn't really reply back to him, she did understand what he was saying. And he really thought they were like together. Until one day, he wakes up, he sees her canoodling another guy right next to him. So he starts going ape shit. He starts beating the shit out of this other elf. And that's the first time violence was ever like on this island, okay? Everybody was just like, bro, what the hell is that thing? You know, it feels bad. He was so upset about it that he actually stabbed the motherfucker to death. Now, Bora had run away before seeing that, but yeah, he stabbed the guy, buried him, got caught by another group of elves. They didn't see the dead body yet. They have a threesome, which, okay. And then after the threesome, they do see the body, and then he kills them. So he's on a killing spree in this way at this point. He's got that taste of blood, and he can't stop. Except, actually, he does much worse as time goes on. Now, killing on this island is unheard of. I just said violence doesn't happen. It's a peaceful, harmonious island. So now he knows that, it's possible. And he realizes he can make the island more primitive. He can make it have more laws like it there is on Earth. And one of the first things that he decides to do is introduce meat. Now, the elves aren't the only thing on this island. There's actually one other thing that is on here that the elves are, best friends with. They are able to live co-togetherly. I don't remember the word fully. And the animal on the island that they live together with, it's like a seal thing. I forgot what, I'm pretty sure they called it like a seal thing, but it's not a seal. Either way, it's really, really cute. It's adorable. It makes like those little pew pew sounds. It looks like a baby. It looks like something, it's very, very cute. You look at it and you're like, damn, that's adorable. Hope nothing bad happens to it. Cheeto looks at it and he's just like, bet. So in secret, he ends up killing one just to see how their meat tastes after he makes a fire. And this is the first time that the tribes people ever saw fire. So while he was cooking and trying the meat, they were like, oh, bro, this meat, what does that smell? It smells amazing. And what is this fire, bro? And so he's like, oh, okay, yeah, try this meat. And they did. And they ate that meat and they loved that shit. And they kept asking for more without really, of course, knowing where the meat was coming from. They just liked what the taste of what it is. And Cheeto used this to his advantage. He used this to make the islanders do whatever he wanted. Now, back to the fruit thing earlier. The fruit that they eat on the island, it not only nourishes you in every way, shape, or form, it also heals your body. This meat can't do that, but they want it. So much so, they will do anything. And one of the first things Cheeto decided to do was make all the females stop having sex with all of the other male elves and only have sex with him. And then the males, of course, started becoming, a bit aggressive, a bit angry because they wanted to have sex too. So then Cheeto would make the males end up doing things in order to allow them to have sex with the females. And some of those things including fighting one another for his own amusement, sometimes even to death. And after a time, one of the male elves started getting really angry about it. He tried attacking Cheeto, and Cheeto got so pissed off that he took that male elf that tried attacking to him, burned him at the stake in front of everybody on the island. And at that point, nobody wanted to go against him because it's, they don't want that. That scene was incredibly graphic. It's only in a webtoon, you can only see pictures, but the screams coming from the male elf being burned alive and the reaction from the islanders seeing it genuinely looked horrific. You see a couple pages before a threesome, a bunch of elves playing, having sex with each other, and then you see a guy getting burned alive. And This webtoon's a trip, my guys. Now, it goes without saying, Cheeto got a lot of the confidence to do all of these things, not only because the Islanders, know only peace and would kind of do anything and aren't maybe the smartest, but because he's clearly on a power trip like, he was back in high school. And from that power trip, he got the idea to make a nobility system. Now, with this nobility system, elves that would do what he wanted to the best degree that he liked would be, of course, at the top. He's the king, nobility, and then there's everybody else. Nobility got to claim some of the fruit trees as their own. So they got to choose who got some of the fruit and who didn't. And of course, a lot of the nobility began to become corrupt. They'd be like, oh, only if you have sex with me, or only if you do these awful things, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Because of this, a lot of the islanders who didn't do what the nobility or what Cheeto liked or wanted them to ended up starving to death because they weren't given access to the fruit. And of course, they didn't get the meat. And during this whole time, Cheeto keeps getting more meat. He keeps killing the seals. Yeah, he stabs and kills them in front of their own little seals family. The seals know what's going on. And the seals, of course, begin to really fucking hate everybody on the island. They go hiding. They don't want to be found, but of course they keep getting found. It is literally a massacre of the seal cute population. The cute seals need help! And a really big turning point in the webtoon is when the islanders seemingly know at that point. They find out what it is that the meat is coming from, and they don't care. They don't care like they usually would have probably in the beginning, and they would have stopped. It's because a lot of them have power or are just trying to survive. This island becomes Cheeto's own little world. He tried to use the argument of making them primitive with ideas of owning things and becoming, powerful. In the end, it just made a corrupt island. He did introduce, how to make fire to the other islanders, as well as, how to make a ball and play with balls, not in the... Either way, though I'm sure they probably already knew how to do that. But of course, the main focus was Cheeto having power. And he became insane with power. He could do anything. I mean, there is a lot of killing. There's a lot of starvation, a lot of assault. You look at the art and you don't see that. You're not going into this thinking, okay, you're going into this thinking you're going for a nice, quick, nice little fap. It looks like a good story. I mean, for God's sakes, the art, impeccable, delicious, amazing. It is so beautifully, prettily done. I really don't like kind of how Cheeto's face is drawn, but the girls, now let's be honest, that's what we're here for. And the seals, oh god, they're so cute. So you can imagine when they're screaming in pain at being, skinned alive. But then once you look all past all that, once you look past that great ass art, I mean, you just get a lot of... Now, I've given you a rather big synopsis of the story, not a full synopsis. I didn't share everything that happened in it because, there's some shocking things and there's some, other small, more traumatic things. It's not an incredibly long webtoon by any means. And I'm not going to tell you the ending either because it's a whole thing. It's weird. And I will say Cheeto does get his just desserts, but I also will go on the fact that the ending of this is it's weird a little bit. I will tell you, you will not guess what happens. You will not expect it. Along that note, the story, of course, isn't the best written. It does do a very good job of kind of showing you how power and how easy, corruptness can lead to things. It really started making me think in the beginning of humanity, obviously we didn't come out of our proverbial soup being oh yeah, let's have people in charge. Maybe this is what it was in the beginning. I don't know. Only George Clooney knows. I don't even know what that means. Going into this expecting a saucy time and coming out of it just staring at the wall for a while and kind of crying thinking about the seal thing. It was a whole thing, really. It really was a whole thing, this series. It stayed with me. I read this actually a few years ago, and I think about it every now and again because it was just so, you don't expect it. It was so out of left field. The name, everything, you just don't see it coming. In Metamorphosis, you kind of can get the feeling right away from the beginning after a few pages. Whereas this is just after everything's good and then suddenly it's not. I guess NTR really does do that to a person. Jesus. Still such a great genre. I have never read a webtoon like this since. I might not ever. A lot of people will say oh, you think that's messed up, read Killing Stalking. Yeah, Killing Stalking, it was messed up, sure, but it wasn't. It's the seals, man. If you were looking for a saucy but also traumatizing series, if that's a thing you like, people like all the other titles that I'm not gonna name that are messed up but saucy, so then you might like this one. Either way, thank you guys for watching this video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you are thinking about supporting this channel or would like to see this video uncensored again, please type in this link here or check out the links in my description because they are right over there. Either way, thank you guys again and bye! Get some help, bye!